There's no such thing as that. No such thing. That doesn't exist.
You are
So.
fucking lying to me. I know you're lying to me. There's a reason I have Tony Soprano in the background, okay?
We have other people that do that for us.
Yes, that's the
There you go.
answer. Yeah, you look like
If
you
you
guys
want-
you're like we want to be some made
Al
men, so
Capone.
we're gonna go deep into this.
Oh, yeah,
If
yeah.
you want, that's in my man cave. So there you go. See the picture behind me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's Luciano, Gotti, and Al Capone.
Al
yeah.
Capone.
So who of the three, I'm a Capone fan, mostly because I like the migration to Chicago. What about you guys? Who's your
I'm lucky Luciano.
Luciano.
He started it all.
Yes.
He started it all, man. He started the five families.
He was the one that put it all together.
I love the depiction of him in Boardwalk Empire on HBO.
That's a great show.
Yeah, that's a great show.
Oh my
I
God.
feel like that is such an underrated show, and I tell people that all the time. I'm like, that
even
show is so good.
even Maya Lansky, the guy who put what's
He's
his
a
name?
Jew.
What's his name?
Yeah, Maya Lansky
Yeah,
is Jewish.
Maya Lansky, they did great with him too. Well, I mean, listen, man, that they made the dynamic duo. My uncle always told me, Uncle Paulie, Jeff, I tell you, he said he'll find yourself a good Jew, you'll always make money. Yeah. The Italians were the muscle. That's why our hashtag is we are the muscle. And the Jewish guys were the brains back in the day. You know, that's how it worked. That's how they got everything done. So
yeah.
So you guys both have like Italian immigrant background families, right? Am I crazy saying that? Like hardworking, structural.
We actually just sold my house in Italy. My grandfather's house. Literally last week we sold it. Yeah, it's because he's gone and nobody wants to go. It's like you know how it is when people die and everything. So we've had it in the family for 40, 50 years, from the original town and everything. And about I think it was last week or the week before that, we ended up selling it.
Did you ever get to go there? I mean, have you been there?
It's funny. I never got a chance to go. All my cousins went. My sisters went. When I was younger, I used to get into a little bit of trouble. So my grandparents didn't want me going there because it was a little dirt road town where everybody knows everybody. I can't be banging all the broads and like.
That's what you meant by getting into trouble.
So I was young, dumb, and full of cum, man. I'm almost 40 years old now, so things are a little different now. But
both obviously both your sides are from Italy, right? Yeah. Your dad's side and your mom's side,
yeah. My father's side's from Sicily region, and then my mother's side's from near Campobasso, like Abruzzi, we're Napolitan, Naples.
Yeah. So my family,
Jeffrey, when you asked that question, I thought you were directed towards me or my brother.
I was like, I don't know, maybe
look Italian.
Maybe I don't know.
We're as Polish and white as you can get.
Yeah, so maybe northern.
Way northern. Yeah. So I dig the tattoos a lot. I love that Amendola looks amazing, dude.
Yeah, it came out real clean actually.
It does. It looks like a perfect spot for it.
Yeah, the way
you know why, bro? Also, the forearm's always good because it's tight. The skin always stays like really tight.
It looks like a stamp.
So
yeah, it's clean.
Yeah, it is clean. I like it. So the positioning's awesome. And obviously, like when you keep your elbow up on the table, you just kind of flash that thing off like, that's what's up.
This is my first company. Bull City Cigar Company.
Yeah, well, that's not your company no more. So we got needs.
So wait, you owned a cigar shop and sold it, I assume?
Yeah. So when I first started, it was called Bull City Cigar Company, rebranded to this in 2017.
Okay. Got it. So, okay, here's what I want to do. And I'm not going to say partner ownerships in cigars is a rarity, but it's more rare than like single family ownership. And you hear that quintessential like story. Yeah. How did you guys meet? Like, how do you I'm assuming cigars brought you together. Am I crazy in saying that? Is that the connection that you made? Or are you guys like longtime friends?
No, we met through a mutual friend who thought we should meet because I was doing an event and near where he lives in South Carolina, and our boy Yanni was like, "Yo, you got to meet my boy Chris. He's from New York. You're from the same neighborhood. You're both Italian. Thinking about getting into business." So I went over to his house after the event, and we stayed up until like 5 a.m, drinking, smoking.
Damn.
Yeah, and we just kind of hit it off. Man. It was like instant family, instant brotherhood. And he was talking about wanting to get into business. I was looking for a partner, someone to help me out. and take the brand to the next level. So it's been almost 3 years, 2.5 years.
Isn't that weird how blind dates usually fail?
Yeah, it was a
Well,
match
you know
made
what's
in
even-
heaven.
You know what? You know what's even crazier though is that we're only a year. I'm a year older than him. We grew up in the same area. He knows some of the same people.
Oh yeah,
I moved away from New York only 4 years ago.
Okay.
I've been gone a
and-
while.
He's been going a little while, but it's only been 4 years since I've been going. But you know, even growing up, you know, hanging out in the same spots and everything.
Yeah,
I
we used
don't.
to go to the
we
same
never-
pizzerias.
We never
Look.
even met each other
That's crazy.
until we moved down here by a third party person. And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it's crazy that, you know, we grew up in the same neighborhood, knew the same people around the same age, you know, so we were going to the same functions and,
Right.
you know.
Oh,
all
your
that,
paths,
so-
your paths have certainly crossed more than once before that.
Oh, probably.
Sure.
Probably
Probably.
did. And we just never knew it. You know,
Yeah, that's
so
wild.
Yeah.
So-
that's weird, right?
Yeah.
So Jeffrey, question for you. So in terms of your exiting what you were doing in the cigar lounge, cigar retail world, I'm assuming the next progression for you was Amendola. Is that right?
Yeah. So when I was, I had the brand, the Bull City brand. There was a retail shop and a factory. We were making all of our cigars in there.
Was that the Carolina operation that you had?
It was in Durham. Yeah. So, but I had a close friend of mine here. He was always like, he helped me out a lot in the beginning, but really just as a friend, like a support guy. Primo, Josh Bowling. He was always like, dude, why don't you have a great name? Why don't you call yourself Amendola Family Cigar Company, or just Amendola Cigars? And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I thought about it. I just didn't know if I was good enough to do that. Like, am I good enough to put my name on something, But I thought about it. I'm like, what am I doing this for? I'm trying to build a legacy. I want to build a brand that won't go out of style. And it was all me at the time. So why not?
Yeah.
And it became Amendola Family Cigar Company. I sold the shop, kept the brand, and started making cigars and hitting the streets.
Nice. You know what I always
Yeah.
found interesting is that a lot of people tout and they put a lot of credence into companies that they say are second, third, fourth generation cigar companies, but everybody had to start with a first. Everyone
That's why
started
we
at one.
say we are first generation, because
Yeah,
we're
I
starting
love that.
this here. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah, it's
Person
awesome.
I talk about, we're proud.
We
Like, we-
wear like a badge of honor, man. We
Yeah.
like to be different. We like to be a little bit of the black sheep in the game. We don't want to be, another brand that does the same thing that everybody else does. Like,
Right.
Listen, like I said before, like we kind of, when me and Jeff were looking to partner up, I told him too. I said, listen, I've been looking to get in this business, but it had to be the right brand. It had to be the right fit. I wanted to have a partner. I didn't want to do it by myself because, the love of cigars, you love doing. That's what, that's the whole
Go
thing about
together,
cigars,
social,
bringing
right.
people together, social, so I was like, I want to do it with somebody. So when we met, I saw that, Jeff obviously had a good head on his shoulders. He was determined. He was really passionate about what he did. And, on my end, I was collecting cigars for 10 years, going in and out of shops. So, I was just like, I need to find somebody who loves this as much as I do and doesn't think I'm a weirdo because that's all I talk about and want to do. So when I met him, it just worked. And, we knew, that we knew that there was going to have to be some changes to the brand. And I knew coming in, that I'm lucky enough that, this was Jeff's baby and that he gave me, like, he trusted in me enough to bring to the table some of the ideas that I came up with and redesigning boxes. And he entrusted me with some things, because, and I'm lucky that I have a partner that did that. Because I know that this was his baby. So for him to give up a little bit of it, was tough on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at his face. He's like,
but I think he knew after the first year of us being together, he knew that, we were just, the first year we linked up, man, we got into Bravado, we got into JR, we got into Atlantic Cigar Company. We started picking up wholesale accounts. And, I knew that if I was going to, invest into something and get involved into something, between financially, time-wise, stress-wise, just everything, it had to be a brand that I believed in and that I could call my own. And I knew that as soon as I met him, and we clicked. And after after even just a couple of weeks, man, we just knew it. Like we both just had that vibe that this was what we needed to do, and it worked. It just, it worked. So it's been working, knock on wood, pretty well for the last almost 3 years. We've grown a lot. We made a lot of big changes together. I like to say, when Jeff started this thing, he was like, on the bottom of the foundation where he's still laying the cinder blocks, or maybe pouring. I got to come in and help finish the foundation, and now we're building the house. That's kind of where we're at, and kind of the progression. I think you would agree in how the company has progressed over time. Like he started it where he was doing his own thing, and he was really learning the art of rolling, and which he's great at, by the way. I don't know. Hopefully one day you guys will be able to come to an event and see him roll some fresh ones out.
I've attempted, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
No, he's listen, I do the same thing. See, I do it more so when we try to come up with new blends and stuff, I'm very good at tasting and stuff like that. But I roll it just to put it together and fucking taste it. My shit looks ugly. His thing looks pretty, That's why I leave it to him. I leave it to Jeffy. But
the other side too of the business was when I had the shop, there was also an event business, like Chris was talking about the rolling.
Yeah.
When I left the shop, I went full time into doing events, and just people hire me for weddings, beer fest, wine fest, bourbon festivals, golf courses, and then wholesale was picking up, and that's where I wanted to go. That's where the direction I wanted to go with a partner. When I met Chris, that's kind of was like, all right, this is where we're at. This is what we got going on. Now let's take it to the next level.
So you two met, or at least when you onboarded Chris, was what, 2019? Is that right?
It was early 2009. It was like,
no.
Was it?
Yeah. Early
2019.
2019.
Okay, so when you come out your first cigars, obviously, Jeffrey, I'm making the assumption, I think it's a good assumption to make, when you get agreements for certain shops or even into retail distribution, you weren't rolling those cigars yourself. So who were you partnering with at the get-go in terms of blending and production and so on? Is that coffee?
Well, originally I was making that. I had myself and another roller. We had some local wholesale accounts.
Gotcha.
At bottle shops and some of the local cigar shops. We were making them at first. In 2016, we stopped doing all the production in Durham because my roller left, moved back to DR, and I couldn't do it by myself. And I was actually I started making cigars in the Dominican Republic with a master blender. His name was Simon Rojas of Intertabac. They do cigars for a lot of brands. And then my contact with that kind of went south. And then I started working with Cafe in Honduras, 2017, 18.
Okay. And you guys migrated away from that. So here recently, right? Or not too long ago.
2020, early last year.
Well, that was, I mean, honestly, last year, so when me and him met, he was still with Cafe. And for the first year,
that's right.
Well, the first year, 19, we were still doing Cafe.
I've lost track of time.
I know.
Completely.
You're getting old, and you're younger than me. You see? No, but we were doing stuff with Cafe for about the first year, and then after the first year, because in the beginning we didn't partner up right away. The first year in 2019, it was more like, yo, we're boys. I'm going to just try to sell some stuff for you first, see if we can get the brand exposure, get it out there. I had some good connects to some wholesale accounts back up in New York. I said, let's start there, and as it progressed, that's when we just looked at each other. We're like, yo, this is working. Why don't we just do this? Why don't we just partner up and do this together? You want to get into business? I need a partner. Let's do the damn thing, And then once 20 came and we partnered up and we changed some, business models a little bit, and we wanted to go in a different direction, and we wanted to get, a different quality product. We started talking, Jeff started making some moves on looking into different factories and trying to network and link up with different people to talk to get us into some of these factories. And we ended up being able to get into Aganorsa.
Right.
Then we ended up developing a relationship with Eric Espinoza, and everything just started falling into place, and we little by little we were chipping away. I mean, then we got distribution. At the end of last year, we got distribution with Lugione. So
the factory move was a big move.
Yeah, the factory move was huge for us.
It was actually towards the end of 2019 because that's when we got that Pravada deal. Remember, they wanted the Cannoli, and we had an issue making the quantity they wanted. That was the first thing, just some production, whatever. So we started looking around, and that's when Eric Espinoza and La Zona said they'd take on that project for us. So we just figured, let's move it over there, store production there, and they accepted.
I would say there's no doubt they make some really good stuff. So and Aganorsa, obviously,
What was your goal from a production standpoint? How many cigars were you trying to produce when you guys decided to partner and kind of make your first stick and release some of your blends? Like, how many sticks were you kind of aiming for making and releasing?
Well, we look at, obviously we want to sell a lot.
Yeah.
So we look at what we did.
Goal.
Yeah, the first year, right? Say we did 60,000 cigars. Okay. Now, coming in a new year, we want to do 80,000, 100,000, right? Next year, we want to do 150, 200,000, But what we did at first, we're a small company. It's just him and I, right? All of our resources are us. So let's just make enough product to fulfill all of our orders and have a little bit left over. We went through that in 2 months? I mean, scale up. We went from making 50 boxes of blend to now we're at 200 boxes of blend.
Hell yeah.
And now
we're doing that 4 or 5 times a year. So
and now already we're about to bump up to 400 boxes of blend. Hopefully, buddy.
It's just like all right, how much money do we have? How many orders can we fulfill? Let's do that first, right? Yeah. And then boom, go from there. We scale up. It's great. I mean, we've had to quadruple our production in the past year. So,
but could you imagine, Jeff, if it was just you and you had to roll 80,000 sticks?
No. I couldn't, nor would I want to.
How do you like heroin?
It's my new thing. My new habit. No, there's a lot of moving pieces to this business. As much as I don't think it's work, I mean, I love it. Chris loves it. We're passionate about it. So, but there's a lot of moving pieces to be on top of, as far as, like Chris said before, design, boxes, bands, blends, tobacco, talking to shops,
licensing,
importers. So I couldn't do that all. I couldn't do it. You can't do it all by yourself.
So that sparks a question for me: the separation of responsibilities between you two. Who does what? Or do you guys kind of just involve yourselves in everything, a little bit of everything, and you just kind of say, hey, two resources are better than one?
I think we do. I'll tell you what I don't do, or what Chris has solely done, for sure, is the new designs and the boxes. That was his baby. I don't really get involved.
And the big accounts that we got.
So Chris's roles are, like our major sales accounts, our big accounts, a lot of the marketing and the design stuff. But we all kind of, I mean, it's not like I'm not going to go out and sell,
right?
We both dabble.
It's hard to say.
It depends on who's busy or not busy, but usually Jeff is, listen, also it's been different this year because COVID completely annihilated our event business side of things, which that's where Jeff shines, obviously, with his rolling skills. And, like his biggest thing is he likes to be out there, be in front of people. People love to see him. He's good at, he's they see the passion, they see him playing with tobacco. That was a big side of our business. So, for the first year, especially, I handled a lot more. And when we changed things of the back office stuff, as far as like are the bands getting where they need to go, dealing with the design guy, dealing, for the bands and the printers, making sure the printer gets it to Nicaragua, making sure, all the boxes get designed right, dealing with a designer to get the box designs and get everything turned into vector files, or, doing stuff like that, pulling, a lot of the bigger accounts in the beginning. That's why we partnered up. Was I told him, I said, I'm going to get you into some of these bigger accounts. Atlantic is a big, supporter of us, always has been. That's a personal relationship from living back in New York. They used to own the lounge that I was a part of for 10 years. So I had that relationship. I had a couple other little relationships. I developed a pretty good relationship with Brian from Pravada, who really supports us. I mean, he took a crap ton of cannolis off of us, man. Like, we didn't even have enough for anybody else, like.
They took them all, and some.
So I deal with a lot more, I don't mind being in the spotlight. I'm obviously not shy, as you fellows could see. But I get grumpy sometimes. So I like Jeff to deal with everybody. He knows I get grumpy. So I like to stay behind the scenes, deal with all the emails, deal with all the logistics to make sure everything is getting done the way it's supposed to be getting done. When the event side of the business opens up again, that's where Jeff is going to really become a workhorse again for us, because he was doing 4 or 5, 6 events a month easily, like easily. So
that's crazy to go from doing that to everything shutting off like a faucet.
Oh man, I was freaking out.
See, but that's why we're lucky we have the wholesale, because the wholesale is what kept us alive.
Right.
And I will say, we actually, that gave us time. And as far as dealing with the factories and the blends, we both kind of do that together. But yeah, when 2020 happened and everything shut down, the events are gone, I started freaking out. I'm like, what am I going to do? This is my baby here. It's gone. But it actually helped us really come up with a solid plan. It gave us time to sit back.
You could work
and work and be like, look, we have this time. Let's take advantage of it and make the brand what we want it to be, and execute it all. Like, there's no rush now. It's like, we're either going to sit around and twiddle our thumbs or get together and get this thing where it should be. And that's what we did. Well, I feel very proud of it, actually. You know what it was too? And,
I'm proud of it too, Jeff. I'm happy you said that, because, we really, took the time. Like, when things were normal, we had things that we kept on talking about, like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to update the website, we need to get this done, we need to get that done. And it's like, we would never be able to get it done because I was so worried about just trying to build accounts and get us wholesale account. He was so inundated with doing events that we would always talk about doing it, but we never actually had the time to get it done. So, it's almost was like he said, it was like a blessing in disguise. Because in a way, it kind of let us hit the pause button and kind of really reassess everything from 10 feet up and look over everything and be like, all right, you know what? We have the time now. Let's get the website done. Right. Let's, start looking into marketing stuff. Let's start getting some swag and hats and t-shirts. Let's start, all that little stuff that you don't think of as important all adds up to something important and makes the brand, So all those little things that we slacked on, we were able to
also
step it up on a little bit.
We're also to come up with some new blends too. And really
new blends.
Hone in with our factory partners,
that's awesome.
Much needed. So
I would say there, as many brands and manufacturers Chris and I talked to through the start of the pandemic and obviously to current, we saw kind of a combination of both in terms of woe is me, look at what happened, oh pity, what am I going to do? And then we saw some other brands and manufacturers take the fucking opportunity by the balls. And they're like, this is a good time for me to execute on all these things I've wanted to do and haven't had time to do. And now you see a good example is you guys, and you've seen some other brands who I don't want to say in terms of sales thrived during that time. I think they've positioned themselves to make it through, but in other aspects like brand recognition in the marketplace, you saw them thrive. And you think you guys are a good example of that. It's I see your brand so much more now than I think I did a year ago, for sure.
I think we filled up those gaps.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. I said
Yeah, go ahead, Jeffrey.
people are gonna get discouraged and fall off.
Yep. There's some
Like,
natural
we could
attrition for sure.
we could either get discouraged with our tail between
be
our
one-
legs
And be one of
and
them.
fall away, or we
Yeah.
could sack up, keep doing what we're doing, take it up a notch, and get it done. We're both hustlers. We both obviously we're very passionate.
That's how we.
This
Listen,
is
that's
no
how we
plan
were
B.
raised.
This is no plan
Yeah.
B. This is it. So
you know,
take
from
advantage.
where we're from, can't go sit and like in the corner and whine.
It'll
that,
pass you by.
You didn't get your way. You got to man up, sack up, and grab your balls and just be like, listen, let's make something of this and keep on
It
going.
is what
man.
it is.
Like you can't.
And
So
I think we did fill gaps, and
Yeah, of course. When there's that kind of attrition, someone has to take those spots, right? And then you have wholesalers, you have retailers, you have any online presence, you have traditional brick and mortars that are looking for people to fill those spots. They're looking for
Right.
something to energize their shops and their customers during times like that. And if it's like, hey, Amendola, look at what these guys are doing. Boom, you've got a pathway. You have a way in to allow your brand to shine where others have just kind of, dissolved everything that they were doing.
yeah,
It was an interesting time too, because the other feedback we got is that for a lot of companies, think about the investments you make in events and how much money and time it takes to put those things together, like IPCPR and all these different events. But when you can't engage and participate in those things, you just don't sit idly by. You like spend that time and money reinvesting into your company, and
because people pay
go.
attention. People pay attention. I think
100%.
Well, I know they do.
Yes, they do. More so now than ever. Like information is at the fingertips of everybody. Everybody's paying attention. The consumer, I always say this, like, I think a lot of times people think consumers are dumb. Consumers are the smartest, most well-educated people in terms of your brand that you will ever get.
They pay attention.
Yes, they do.
Because now all they got to do to find out about a brand and what you're about and your history and is Google. That's it. They know everything about you.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
That's it.
What are they doing?
And they'll attach themselves to it or they'll separate themselves from it. And it's all the effort that you guys bring forward as what you do in terms of the resource you bring forward, who you are as human beings that people will attach to. And it sounds like that's exactly what you've done. The progression that you've made is an attachment to what you two have specifically built as a brand. And such, by the way, in such an incredibly short period of time. I think that cannot be taken away too. There are literally brands that have been around for 100 years. And you guys start this and also have to weather a pandemic, which what the fuck? That's and then come out the other side with the enthusiasm and the attitude like, we're going to take this year by storm. That's incredible.
I figure if we could get through that and double, triple our production,
oh my God,
we're not going to fail.
That's the thing. Like, we just have this mentality of, listen, even, coming into this, I've been in this industry now almost 3 years. When I first got involved, I was a consumer for 10 years and I would collect cigars, and go hunt for unicorns and, but now that I'm in this business, like, and getting into it, I knew, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it takes time. And you got to build up a reputation, a good reputation in this business. This business is all about relationships. And I think, you got to build up that relationship with people and your factory partners and your customers and, get that exposure. And it takes time. This isn't a business. I don't care who you are, unless you're Carly, Fuente or somebody like that. I mean, but if you're just a regular guy that just wants to start up a cigar company, with no backing, no family lineage, you're not going to just get into this game in a year, take off and make millions of dollars. It doesn't work like that,
Nope.
So, you got to really, it's almost like, I was in a band. Okay. And I equate this a lot to like being in a band. You got to really love what you're doing to do this. You can't do it. The money will come when the time is right. If you're doing the right thing, but you got to do this because you love it. That's why you got to do it. You
What
got to
you-
do
what-
this shit because you love it.
What
You
you're
have to
saying
live it.
is the mindset going in can't be, it can't wait to build this thing and make millions. The mindset
Yeah.
is, I can't wait to do what I love to do, and hopefully everything else will
And be
follow.
successful at it. I just
You-
want to be successful at it.
You have to
Yes.
live it. You have to live
Yes.
it. This is something. It's a lifestyle. Even as a brand, it's
Couldn't agree more. I've never
That's a
heard
living.
I've never heard anyone, I'm sure it's existed, but I've never really heard anyone go, can't wait to start my cigar brand and make millions of dollars. I personally
Well,
have never heard it, because I just think about so many other things where there's a path of least resistance to make $1 million, and it's not in cigars. Like, it's not that I'm saying
Exactly.
it's impossible. It's just like, that is certainly not path of least resistance.
the one thing
No,
I learned is that you and what we've been doing, you just can't stop doing it. That's what I
Can't
mean
quit.
by lifestyle. That this is your path. You can't stop. I mean, there were plenty of times I could have stopped, given up, but you can't. I
Yeah,
told
it's
Chris
just-
that too going in. I'm like, there's no plan B.
Yeah, it's like it's in your
So-
DNA. Like, this is your drive, your motivation.
Oh yeah, it is my DNA.
Yeah,
This is
I
my
always thought
lifestyle.
that was kind of strange about people who, I've used this term before, it's overused, everyone knows this. The difference between people who smoke cigars and cigar smokers. And Chris and I, it's interesting because I've been smoking cigars for relative to my age, a long time, since I was 19 years old. And not just like on occasion, like a very regular basis, everyday type of thing, since I was 19 years old. And I feel the same way about it. It's like, I always knew I wanted to do something with it. Obviously we went a different direction, right? So we're more, we started, this podcast coming up literally in 2 weeks, 4 years ago. And this is what we love to do. And we love talking about it. And we love talking to guys who represent brands like yourself and built brands from like, this is what we love to do. But it's also, we can't imagine doing anything different. It's weird. No matter how stressful things get, and regular life and all that, it's like, you know what? I'm here for this podcast every week. I'm here for the website. I'm here for the reviews. I'm here for all these things. And you commit yourself to it all the time, every time, because you can't imagine your life without doing it. And that's so cool to me.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where we're at with this brand. I mean, me and Jeff, we're like family, man. We talk every single day. Our thumb is always on the pulse. We're always talking about how to make things better. But it's not only just about the business, man. I mean, we're big family guys. Obviously we're Italian. We grew up certain ways. Family was very important. Sunday dinners. It's not always all about the business. Like we talk a lot of. We're like best friends on personal levels. Our kids hang out together. We go on trips together. We like family trips, like where I'll bring my family, he'll bring his family. Like has nothing to do with business. Like I said before, this is the equalizer, man. But this thing is about community, man, and like friendship and gatherings, and we live that. We live that through even just our own relationship. How involved we are with each other's lives and what's going on with each other, personally and business wise. So we're just I'm lucky. I think Jeff feels that he's, well, we're just lucky to that, not to sound cheesy, that our paths crossed at the right time. He needed me, I needed him, we needed each other to kind of get the ball rolling, to get this recipe perfect. And now I think we feel, that we've gotten to the point where we kind of, got our sea legs. We're pretty confident in the product that we have, and we feel that it's very solid for what we need to have moving forward to compete in the markets that we want to compete in. And now it's just about, just maintaining, getting better, bumping up our production, bumping up our inventory, because that's the other issue. I mean, me and Jeff talk about that too. We're talking about it today, where it's, we never thought that we would be complaining about selling out.
Yeah, good problem to have, right?
But
shit, we need more.
But the problem is,
I hate saying no to people.
But the
say
issue
no.
that you run into is you want to sell out all the time, right? So you get as much inventory financially that you could afford, because you don't want to bite off too much too, because what if you just sit on it for, so you have to be calculated with that. And then you want to sell the hell out of it. And you want to be able to accommodate and fulfill all the orders, especially for the accounts that have been loyal to you and gave you, the opportunities. You want to be able to always, but you also want to grow. So there's not as much product to go around, so now it's like you're pissing people off. You're like, yo, man, I got to wait 2 months to get more. I got to wait a month to get more. And then like the other issue is like, now I got to bump up my production. So it's a constant teetering, like a rope, like a tightrope that you got to walk to balance it all out, to make sure that the inventory's on point, but you're not biting off too much you could chew, and you're still be able to fulfill your orders and keep your good customers happy while still being able to keep your brokers and the other people selling your product that want to go into all little brick and mortars and stuff, have product for them to sell those companies, because you don't want all your inventory getting wiped out by the big guys. That's the thing.
Yeah. You've got to balance that the brick and mortar representation of which is so crucial in our industry. Yeah, as well as those big online retailers who can just move product like crazy. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it's hard. Crazy. We're getting a lot of interest in the international market as well.
Ooh,
that's good.
So yeah, we're talking to some people in Belgium and India, England, and things like that. So that's a whole nother situation, but it's great. I mean,
you're just adding more to both of your plates. I feel like at some point in time, you're gonna need a third person.
Do you know what the Italian market's like? I'm curious.
I looked into it.
Is it bad or good? Like, do you guys have an advantage or?
Here's the thing. I would love to sell in Italy because I would love to sell in Italy. The only complication is, not to say it's
a good sense of pride. Very prideful.
The only I did a little research on it, talked to some other people out there that do that. The Italian government basically owns the tobacco industry. So the government would have to buy our products and then they sell it,
distribute it.
Sounds a lot like communism, but I don't remember Italy being communist.
I don't know. Where do you guys live? Ohio?
Yeah.
Ohio. All right. Well, North Carolina. I don't know how you guys have it out there. Probably North Carolina's on it. We have our liquor stores are owned by the local government. They're called ABC stores.
Yeah, so we have something similar, but it's called OHLQ, which is it's a state liquor agency, but the stores operate. Yeah.
Basically, the state dictates what comes in. They warehouse. Same concept with cigars in Italy, but it's for the whole country, not
an individual municipality or.
No, it's the whole.
Holy
country.
Shit, that's wild.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I like challenges, but
that sounds like a lot of red tape.
Yeah,
yeah, it does.
Yeah. Listen, let me tell you something. This business is a lot of red tape.
That's true. It's already a lot of red tape.
The FDA.
That's what I'm wondering as far as
federal regulations,
like you
importing, distributors got to have licensing in all states. Where can you sell? I mean, it goes on and on, man.
Yeah, you guys get into
the FDA and the government is no friend of the tobacco industry.
No,
obviously.
You guys got in at the worst time when all that shit was coming. That time, everybody was like, "How the fuck am I going to get out of this?" And you guys were like,
and the masses jump back in even harder.
But this is what I told Chris. I don't know if you remember this. You remember we were about to call lawyers and everything about? I said, "Look, all the FDA shit's coming down. People are going to get scared and stop and fall out. Let's just keep doing it. Who cares?"
Yeah. Oh, I love, dude. By the way,
they stop us. I don't care. We're still gonna do it. And
I fucking love that attitude because Chris and we had this conversation. I remember Danny Vzquez, formerly Aroma Craft. Now he's doing his own thing again. And we had a conversation with him years back. He was probably one of the first guests on the podcast. And we were talking about and this is hot and heavy into the new FDA regulatory stuff. This was when things were being voted on to go into place to literally stifle the entire industry. And we were a month away from whatever that outcome was going to be. And we are just like, fuck it. Let's go underground. Who gives a shit? They did that during Prohibition. Fuck it.
Our grandfathers did it,
Yeah. I would have participated for sure. Hey, that would have been great.
The answer is non-banded cigars, man.
Exactly.
You don't know who's producing it.
There's always a way.
There's always a way. If
That's
you really
what I
want
love.
To get something done, you get it done.
Your guys' attitude and ambition around it is so admirable because it was so challenging during that time for so many people. And it's great that you guys are just like, you know what? We got to fucking do this. Let's just put it all into place. work our asses off through a pandemic,
Well,
through FDA regulatory
not-
shit, and you come
not
out
for
on the other
nothing.
side. That's crazy.
Not for nothing, Corey, too. I mean, you got to understand, we changed factories and did all this and partnered up right before COVID.
I don't know how you
Okay?
did that. That's
Then we
insane
dumped
to
a
me.
ton of money into this. And then like a month after, we dumped the money into everything, all the changes and the
Factories
whole
are like,
operational
"Hey, we gotta
changes,
shut down."
LLCs. Then everything's like, we got to shut down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and then on top of it, to make things even more difficult, since everything was shut down and all the borders were closed and all that other bullshit, it made us had to do everything via over the phone, FaceTime. We
Yeah.
couldn't go to the factory. We had to tell them we were playing with tobacco here. You know, he would
Right.
come over and we would sit here in my man cave and just play with stuff or at events and play with wrappers and different and like, all right, we should do this. And we would have to tell, you know, when he got on the phone with Terrence, he told him, well, this is the binder. This is what we want. This is what we're looking for. You know, like, and then we had to get everything shipped over, and then we had to do the test blends through mail and then send it back. Like, no, like everything, something that would have probably, you know, we could have buttoned up in a couple days being there in Nicaragua. It took
easy.
a lot longer because we had to do everything via mail, through the mail and through conference calls and
But
all the other nonsense.
I tell you what, though,
no.
we were blessed, man, working with the people we have been working with, because
Yes,
with
100%.
Aganorsa, I mean, those, like Chris, the blends, they just hit the nail on the head. I mean, we had to tweak a couple things, but
Dude,
I'm
yeah.
like, this is exactly 110% what.
Legitimately
looking
some
for.
of the best tobacco I've ever smoked. It's
Yes.
incredible.
It's
And
like,
that, you know what's crazy too is you're thinking about like the process when you're saying like, hey, you have to get shit back and forth, right? And then you've got to figure out coordinating times for calls. Imagine if you didn't have a guy that could roll cigars. Then what?
yeah,
That's
then
true.
what? then you'd be one of those other brands that just says, hey, we want a cigar, put our band on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's cool.
Well, I mean,
It's cool that you guys
lucky for us
figured that out.
that we, you know, we both, you know, are very passionate about this and we love tobacco. You know what I'm saying? Like we could sit there for hours and just play with tobacco, man. It, you know,
I
it's,
love doing that.
Yeah,
love the
so fun.
smell that, you know, we just, so for us, it's not a pain in the ass because we love doing it. Logistically, it just made it timeline wise take a little longer. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's not, like I said, if we would have been able to just go there in 3 days, it would have been done. We could have started,
Right.
but because of the time, we have to conference call, got to get everybody on the call at the same time. What's good for you? What's good for me? You know, the shipping of things, and you know, it made it a little. I'm not saying it made it impossible. It just added a little bit more difficulty to the process than it would normally be when you could just get on a plane and go there.
A different element of
so.
complexity, and at the same time, if you think about someone like an Aganorsa, and even well, you think about Lozona, right? That factory. You think about who they produce for. They've got to coordinate that with other people who have brands that they're running and starting and trying to get cigars on the shelves. So it's like for everybody, the effort is so highly increased, and that's tough.
Well, we're very lucky that I don't want to say lucky because you know what, we broke our asses.
No, I don't believe in luck. We're blessed.
We worked hard
and we hustle.
We're blessed to be able to work with the people that we've been able to work with. Man, Eric Espinoza, you know, is the most down to earth. You know, he reminds me of one of my buddies back home, you know, Puerto Rican friends from back home in the Bronx. Even though he's Cuban, I know he's going to yell at me for even saying that. But he reminds me of one of my buddies, you know, just a real stand-up guy, bro. You know, keeps it real.
You just called a Cuban a Puerto Rican.
I know he's gonna want to shank me after he hears that. But just reminds me of just like, you know, some of my buddies back home, man, that are just solid guys, man. Just, you know, doesn't blow sunshine up your ass, is blunt, tells it the way it is. And you know, I do very well with that because that's how I am. I'm very direct, and you know, whether you like sometimes you're gonna like what I say, sometimes you're not gonna like what I say. But I can promise you're always gonna hear
the truth, right?
And that's how Eric is.
Same.
And we love dealing with him about, like in regards to that. He's really you know, him, Hector, the whole Ozona team has really come through for us. The Cannoli was a big hit for us as soon as we came out with that cigar.
I wish we could have got that for you, but we're waiting.
We're waiting. They'll be here in a couple of weeks. So right now you got our Aganorsa stuff.
It's exciting, and that's going to be the Pravada exclusive. That's what it is.
It was,
but now
it's going to be. Yeah,
it's going to be on the market.
Nice. Hell yeah.
It will be limited production. We're going to do probably 2 times a year production on the cannolis.
That's
So,
cool.
you know, our core line is kind of our bread and butter from Aganorsa. You know, you got 3 solid cigars of one size, Toro, that's it. And
Easy,
then
solid.
you know, and then, you know, our signature series stuff, which is the 3 cannolis coming out of Luzona, you know, and then we have the Padrino and the Special. Those are going to be limited run, you know, maybe 2, maybe 3 times a year, kind of seeing how things land with the timeline. But
see what the demand's like.
you know, we'll probably do it maybe beginning of the year, you know, springtime and fall time or something like that. You know,
Okay.
like you know, right near the holidays, you know, we might put out. We've been talking about maybe putting, you know, a little sampler out of cannolis. We don't know yet. We have some ideas in the works.
We also want the.
I love the cannoli name, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good story.
My
with
favorite
that.
dessert by
It's a good story how that came
legitimately
up.
my favorite thing to eat as far as dessert ever.
Cannolis are great, but you know the other thing we're going to do with those lines, the signature line, is really make it accessible to our loyal customers first, right? Our loyal shops, brick and mortars that have already carry our core line, that have given us a shot, because that's one of the biggest challenges as a young brand in this industry is shop owners giving us an opportunity.
Yeah, you're like fighting for shelf space, right?
Yeah, someone be like, well, no one knows who you are. It's a good cigar, but I gotta go in there and sell it, or you know, blah blah blah. I get it, but we always tell them, look, we're not going anywhere, and if you don't want it, someone else is gonna get it. So we really want to, the signature line really look out after the people that support us first, right? They're gonna get first dibs on that limited production. Obviously, we're gonna sell it, we want everyone to smoke it and experience it, but we have to be loyal to those that are loyal to us. So
Love it. I love that idea. Yeah. Why? I mean, why not? That's how it should be.
yeah,
You guys will give you an opportunity and help you build your business, and it should be.
we gotta look out for each
such.
other.
Yeah.
Well, because not only that, of course, you know, like the cannoli has been a big hit for us. I mean, the way that cigar, I mean, so when I met Jeff, he was making that cigar, and then we were making it with Kathy, and it was just called, you know, the box press Maduro San Andreas, or right, Jeff? It wasn't. Didn't have a name.
It was a petite box.
Petite
press.
Corona, yeah, box press. There was no
Corona.
name to it. So we were sitting around one night, and we were same thing. You know, me and Jeff, when we get together, the party never stops. It goes to like 5, 6 in the morning. We'll blow down 5, 6 cigars. It's ridiculous.
It's dumb.
But we don't stop. We just can't. I don't know. When we're together, that's what happens. So we were sitting around my man cave one night. Same thing. He was over. We were just trying to come up with ideas, talking about the business. You know, what directions we want to go. And I was smoking one of the old versions of the cannoli, which at that time wasn't called the cannoli. And I'm just smoking. It was it's a small little box press Corona. It's like a 5.5 by 42. So I'm smoking, and it's like 5 in the morning. And I'm like, bro, this thing is like a little fucking cannoli. It's like it was just, you know, it's like a little cannoli, a little snack, you know. So because it was so chocolatey, and you know, when we started talking, he was like, dude, that's I like that name. I'm like, yeah. I was like, dude, we should call this thing the cannoli.
It's so.
He's like, dude, that's a good idea. He's like, let's do it. I said, all right, fuck it, let's do it. Called it the cannoli, and ever since then, it just took off. And Brian, you know, with Pravada was a big, you know, proponent of grabbing everything we had of that cigar. He really helped put that cigar on the map.
That's awesome.
You know, because he wanted to put that in the club and have everybody get one. So he pretty much wiped out our supply, so he couldn't sell it to anybody else. And then he's got more coming in now. Like he you know, Brian's been really good to us. Brian DeCinda of Pravada, and all the support we've got from him. But you know, that's how the cannoli came to be. You know, a lot of our stuff, it's crazy. Our ideas come at, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when we're into a half a bottle of whiskey and 4 cigars. It's kind of when those good ideas come into play sometimes.
Oh, that's when I do my best.
Me too. I did too.
Hands down when I do my best thinking. So I have to ask this in terms of like the core blend. So you've got everything labeled, or I think everything produced is at a 6x52 Toro, right? So there's no deviance outside of that. It's that one Vitola, correct?
Correct.
Yep, that's it. Just for the core. And that's what we tell people. That's kind of like our little line is, you know what? We don't make Robustos. We make cannolis. That's what we do. We don't make Robustos. So if you want something small, if you don't want the core line, go grab a cannoli.
Yeah. I have to say
So-
this. I fucking love that you do that, by the way. I love that
Oh,
you
thanks,
have
man.
the Toro 6x52, and that's what you have. I
That's-
absolutely love that. You're not
Thank you.
playing the whole, let's come out with the Lancero, let's come out the
No.
Robusto, let's come out. It's like, here's what it is. This is the perfect Vitola for this blend, and here's what you want to.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's like having a
Because when you
short
start
menu at a
changing,
restaurant.
when you start
Yeah.
changing sizes,
It's a small
even in
menu
the
on a
same
restaurant.
blend,
Yep.
you know, it changes the flavor, man.
Yeah, the
You
profile.
know,
But-
you
but-
start.
But here's
You
the
know,
other
so-
thought behind it. This is, and it's very simple.
Mhm.
We want to make an impact in this industry, right? We want to make really good cigars. Why overwhelm people? Let's
Totally
pick a
agree.
size that we love, that people gravitate to, and make 3 solid blends.
I love it.
You could smoke morning, noon, night, any that is just, oh, Amendola, yeah, they got boom, boom, booms right here. Not this, people get over, I get overwhelmed. And just focus on making a solid product that people can enjoy and come back to and know what we have. This is what we do.
Yep.
That's what Amendola does. It's right
I
there.
remember, I don't know, I think it was, ironically enough, I think it was a Louisiana where I don't know if it was the one-off, but I was like looking through and I go, why do I see 10 Vitolas? And I'm like, I'm stretching my head like this down the freaking aisle. And I'm going, God damn, just give me what's good for Christ's sake.
Right.
The way we look at it is,
That
if
one.
it ain't broke, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I
You know,
love it. I
mean,
think
we
that's
knew
such a
that
good
the
plan.
blends that we had for the sizes that we had, and we love Toro. It's obviously one of the most popular sizes. If you want something for $10 that you're gonna get an hour and a half smoke out of, solid flavor every time, great construction every time, the blend is on point, consistent every time. We're just gonna do this one thing. Now, if you want to start moving and kind of some of the other things that we do, that's when you go to our signature series.
Yeah, you
You
get
know,
out the
we
core
got
blend.
we got
The
three
limited
different types
runs,
of
you know.
cannolis. We got the
Right.
Padrino. That's a Bellicoso.
One
You know, we
size.
got so different.
Everything is one size.
Blend,
I love
every
it.
blend we do is one size.
I
pretty
love it
much.
so
Yeah,
much.
that's it. So
It's
we
such a
blend to
good
the
idea.
size, and that's it.
I swear
If
to
we
God,
come out
you're
with
the-
something new, it's something new. You
You're
know?
the
So,
only guys doing that, and I love it.
So-
You have no idea the admiration I have. It's that short menu, man. I hate going to restaurants where I got to flip through 30 pages because then I go, I don't know what the fuck I
Hey.
want.
Cheesecake
Yo.
Factory.
Yeah,
That's like
give
going to
me
the Cheesecake
options.
Factory.
Yeah, like I
I
hate
can't
that
do it,
shit.
man.
I hate
I
it.
want to walk in and there's one page with like 3 entrees,
That's
like
it.
3 appetizers, and a cannoli.
I'm the same. I'm the same way. So what it's like when I see Toro 6x52, if I'm looking at the shelf, I go, well, this is what I get. Great. Awesome. I don't have
Yeah.
to sit here and browse and think about it. I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to go. And there's nothing, by the way, challenging about a 6x52. If anybody looks at it and go, that's just too much for me, get the fuck out.
And you
Don't
shouldn't be
smoke
smart.
you
Yeah.
shouldn't be smart.
Well, and
Yeah.
if you notice, we did make some minor little differences on each one just to
That's true.
separate them.
That's true.
You know,
I was
we
going
have
to say
our,
that. I was
our,
gonna say
our Naturale has a pigtail end.
Oh,
Um,
by the way, love the cute little pigtail caps. They're my
yeah.
favorite.
our Maturo, like this one has that tapered, almost
It's like
bellicoso.
the media temple.
Yeah, media temple
Taper.
tip on it.
I love
The
it.
tapered tip, and then our cremoso is a typical, cap,
Just
triple
hammer
cap,
it up.
Triple
ground.
cap.
So it's
Love
I
it.
know
It
those
gives
are
you
minor,
a flair for
minor,
each one, you know?
but it
God, I love
separates
it.
them a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
If I were
so-
to ever do it, I would totally copy you guys. That's the way I'd do it. 100%
Okay.
hands down. So I got to ask you this question. Out of the signature series, the core blends, the cannolis, I know when you have multiple children, you can never really say one's my favorite, but everybody secretly has a favorite. So what's your favorite that you guys have come up with? And it doesn't have to be because of flavor. It could be the experience. It could be the time and intensity you put into it. Like, what's the one that's most memorable to you guys that you love smoking the most?
You want to go first, Jeffrey? Or you want me to go?
Yeah.
You know what my answer. I'm
I'll
like,
go.
you go first. You go first. Go ahead.
I have two things, really, I think. It's really hard to say that, to be honest.
Sophie's
because
choice. Just do it.
We made, we made these cigars for different times of the day, and my mood changes throughout the day. So what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
go, they were blended based off
Okay.
mood and day, right? Or
Good
what you're
answer.
doing. But I love the Montero, but something about the pigtail naturale. The first cigar I ever learned how to roll was a pigtail, and I do that at events.
It's crazy.
So for me, that's kind of like nostalgic for me, and I just love looking at it and seeing it and being like, that's been around since I started rolling cigar. That was how I learned. So just seeing it, I love it. However, I will say, I think the cigar that is really impressed me, how the blending, it all came together. And we only did the test, we redid the cigar. We had to reblend it and remanufacture it, was the Speciale. I can't get it out of my head. We only had, a couple of them to test. But I feel like that is gonna be my go-to cigar when it is re-released.
And that's Lazona, right?
Yeah. Well, it's we did the blend with Eric, and it's actually being made at AJ.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So our cannolis are all made at Lazona, the factory. And then the Padrino and the Special, due to logistics, are being
Tobacco.
the tobacco getting into the tobacco, and logistically we're made at AJ's factory.
Eric just brings the
but
blends
Eric
over.
facilitates everything. Like he talks to the blenders. He tells them how it needs to be made, what we're looking for, a wrapper, make sure all the packaging. He's been great. He facilitates it all. He's basically our guy. We don't have a personal connection with AJ. Our personal connection was with Eric, and Eric decides, all right, we're gonna get these made over here. I'll make these at Lazona. You know what I'm saying? So
my two, Nostalgia, Naturale, most memorable cigar I think that I'm gonna smoke from our line, and other people will be the Special.
Nice. The Naturale is really good. That cigar is.
I was gonna ask you,
I'm smoking it right now. I love it.
So I smoked the Naturale the other day. I think I'm gonna smoke the Cremoso probably today, probably after we're done here, and then work.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you now that Cremoso's got some punch. Don't sleep on it.
I don't. So I have.
We made it like that on purpose.
I specifically, I'm telling you right now, and here's the other thing, because the other, so Espinosa does the Crema, which is probably, and I'm not a huge Connecticut shade fan, but it's probably my favorite. It's definitely towards my top of favorite Connecticut shades, because it does have that impact where some other Connecticut's don't. I feel like Espinosa's is like, hey, don't sleep on the wrapper because we're gonna kick you in the nuts with everything else.
I'm curious to know what you think about it.
Oh, I'll smoke. I'll let you know. I'll smook that one.
It's not your typical and that's where we're going back to my two favorite blends. I'm not gonna lie. I smoke a Cremoso with coffee every single morning, bro. Like I almost don't know what to do.
Should I wait? Should I wait till the morning?
Well, listen. See, I'm used to it. But I've had people be like, yo, bro, this thing is too strong for Connecticut, man. It's too strong. So I don't know. For me, I'm okay. I smoke 4 cigars a day, bro.
Yeah.
So
Did you smoke any today?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've already smoked twice today.
Oh, yeah. No, smoke it.
Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you should still be good. I mean, listen, it's got 2 different type of Ligeros in it. So it's got a little.
So blow out my palate.
It's got a Corojo binder.
Jeffery Chris, this is no joke. I've been on a quest, a legitimate quest for years to find the Connecticut shade that just hits me just right.
Yeah. Listen,
and the Espinosa Crema is the closest.
This is what I'm just going to give you a heads up on. It's not your granddaddy's Connecticut. It's not going to be airy and grassy.
Good.
It's the first third.
I smoked one today.
Listen,
I love it.
Another thing too is like when we blended these cigars, like Jeff said, we did it for times of day. That's why it's really hard for me to even give you my favorite one, because I love all our cigars. It depends on what I'm in the mood for. But we blended these cigars heavily, paying attention, especially because I retrohale like 20 times in a cigar, 10 to 20. I retrohale a lot.
For a while.
So focus heavily on the retrohale when you smoke the Cremoso or in all our cigars. But you're gonna notice that first third is like spicy. It's got some pepper kick to it up front, and then once you get past that first third,
gusher.
It starts to get really like sweet cream and like buttercream, and and then once you get towards that back third, it starts to pick up with the baking spice again. But then I'm not like one of these guys that's saying all this crazy flavors they get.
You just halfway. That's fine.
I'm not. But the best thing I could describe is when you get towards the middle and towards that back third. For me, I start getting a lot of, especially on the retrohale, a lot of like confectionery, like powdered sugar, or like funnel cake, or like a sugar cookie with spice. So You'll see. I think it's a very complex cigar.
I'm so
It's
stoked.
got some kick to it.
I'm about to just
It's-
end this interview so I can go right now. Just click end and then
Yeah.
I'm off to the races.
Chris, you didn't say your other one. What was it?
Oh, well, see, I don't know, man, because I mean,
I don't
the
know.
Padrino, I love the Padrino, I love the Maturo. You know, I saw
know.
I can't even say what's my favorite. It really depends on what mood I'm in. I think everything, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because obviously I'm one of the co-owners of the brand. It's my brand, you know, but I honestly love everything that we put out, Jeff. I really, I mean, I think you agree, right? I mean, I really love every blend that we have. It's there's a time and place for every blend that we have.
If you honestly
You
wouldn't
know?
have given that, and we've talked about this before, that's the only acceptable answer outside of picking one is that it's whatever strikes in the moment, right? What's the mood? What's the situation? It's the only thing you get outside of naming one that I will give you a pass on, because that is so. It's
Well, I'll say
cigars
here
are
about this.
so
I'll say-
situational.
Corey, I'll give it to you. I'll say the Padrino because I love
Okay.
our Padrino is a Connecticut broadleaf. Okay.
Also, really,
So, and
I love the Vitola too. I mean, I'm just.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a great.
Yeah.
So probably the Padrino and the Maturo if I had to pick two, but I don't know, man. That Cremoso,
You smoke a Cremoso every morning.
every
religiously.
day. I smoke on every day. I don't even know how to start my day with that one now. It's weird. Like I start going to.
You'd be like
I
the
get
guy
into,
who
like,
forgets to bring his
Cremoso
phone
withdrawals.
with him. You'd be like, oh,
Dude,
It's like a lost little puppy.
I get into Cremoso withdrawal. I'm like, oh my god, I don't have a Cremoso. What the hell am I going to smoke? I can't
Shit,
smoke.
is that
this
gonna
shit,
happen to me?
Connecticut.
am I gonna have to go to
It's
therapy?
good.
My therapist says, what's with you today?
You
What's
could
the
just
emergency?"
call
I'm like,
Chris.
Cremoso, it's gone.
You could call Chris and have therapy together.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see what you're going to think. I mean, listen, hopefully I didn't hype it up and then you smoke it and you're like, man, this thing's not strong enough for me, or you know. But I think for Connecticut, there's one thing I can guarantee you, whether you like it, don't like it, fits your palate, whatever. You're definitely not going to say it's a boring Connecticut. I can guarantee that.
But that's
You're
what
not gonna say
I'm
it's boring.
looking for. Like that's exactly
So-
that's my quest.
Good.
That's the search.
So-
Is exactly what I'm
Good.
looking for. Something that doesn't cause me to, freaking sleep while I'm smoking.
Have it with like an espresso with some sambuca in it, or a coffee with some whiskey in it.
That
Like, I'm telling you, dude. There you go. Put some
I got
whiskey
that
in,
covered.
like a coffee, or straight whiskey,
Or
whatever
just
that
drink
works. So
whiskey.
that's what I'll do. But
Whiskey's
yeah, that's
fine.
what I do.
I mean, that's usually what I do. Is at this hour,
Yeah.
I'm just drinking straight bourbon for sure.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
got to ask, guys, what does the future hold? I'm looking at the menu of cigars that you've come out with and all these Vitolas. The world is seemingly opening back up. I see every day friends of mine who are my age that have been vaccinated. Jeffrey, you'd already mentioned that the event piece when it shut off was, I would say, probably a bit crippling for you, even though you guys got to do some of the things you've always wanted to do. So what are you looking forward to, post pandemic, and what does the future hold in terms of blends and what you're going to do from, a brick and mortar perspective and getting your cigars and product out there more? What does the future look like 1, 2 year, 3, 5 years down the road?
Yeah. So I think first thing first is, like we already discussed, we were ramping up production. Definitely get back out in the event circuit. I've started booking some already as far as like private events, but we're looking at some some retail account events to get and support them. We're planning on doing the TPE next year at the trade show. I think we actually have a broker in Florida. She is just started, so our plan is to invade the Florida market.
Nice.
And hopefully working with somebody up Northeast, New York, PA, Jersey. I mean, the plan is to grow. We've been doing this organically, and I love it doing it that way. But to just keep going, keep doing what we're doing, get back out there. I got to get back out there and be in front of people and roll cigars for people. I love doing that. I see this brand not going out of style. It's a legacy brand to me. People they think cigar brand, their brands become famous or they put in a spotlight. I don't care about being famous or anything. I want to create a legacy, whether it happens in 3 years, 5 years, 20 years.
Right.
I want something to be able for my kids to say, hey, my daddy did that. It's mine now if I want it. We will always be remembered as we work like a family. We're passionate, and that's what I want. That's what I want. That's the plan, is to not stop and never go out of style.
Well, I'll say this: your guys' logo is fucking dope as shit. And
Thank you,
I
man.
hate to use the skater term "dope," but that's all I can come up with.
It is dope.
It is
It is dope.
fucking awesome. I love that logo so much. It's because there's so
Well, Jeff,
many boring logos. Ugh.
Well, and that's what like, even if you look at the like little nuances about our cigar, you'll notice as you smoke them and you're actually looking at the band work. Like, obviously we have, loyalty, respect, and if you once you open up the band on
Yeah,
the
you have the
inside,
word on your side. Right?
is printed honor,
Honore.
which is, that's all in Italian. If you notice our names of our cigars, we name those. Naturale is Italian, natural in Italian.
Right.
Maturo, everybody's like, did you spell Maduro wrong? It's like, no, that's how you say mature in Italian is Maturo, which is Maduro.
Which I love.
So
It's so cool.
Cremoso is,
And you've got
cream
the incorporation of the
Italian,
Italian colors as well.
yeah. And that's the thing. We
flag
wanted
on the back.
we really thought like that would kind of, separate us from what everybody else does, which is, like I said, listen, we respect the tradition, we respect the legacy of Central America, obviously, but we wanted to portray what we are, and represent what we are and our heritage and our values and how we grew up. And, like even with the logo, getting, the bull is for strength, he's got the 3 stars, which is honor, respect, loyalty, which you live under, the bull's under the stars. And then you got, I always say to Jeff, he's like, whatever. But I always, especially when I see those leaves on the side, that's represents like Rome, like old school Romans, like those leaves like that.
Yeah.
So, I feel like our brand really represents us well and what we're about. And like Jeff said, we wanted to make this brand something that was, especially redesigning everything that popped, but wasn't too loud also at the same time. It had to be traditional. It's like tradition with a little bit of edge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not too like crazy. Like, listen, I say this all the time. I love like skulls, and I was in a heavy metal band, bro. So I love all that shit, demons and skull. But I don't want to put that on my cigar. You know what I'm saying? Like we want our.
I'll give you the design thing of it as far as incorporating those two worlds together for the traditional part that's been around for literally hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then also kind of the subtle modern nuances to it as well. Like the logo pops and stands out, and it does kind of usher in your cigars into a new era that is outside of that quintessential traditional type style, which gets overused and boring, but isn't so freaking wild and crazy that it's like unrecognizable in terms of cigars. It's that perfect blend.
I mean, we have one gimmicky thing, and I don't want to say it's gimmicky, but like every brand, so when we decided to expand on our cannoli line because it did so well, and that's where we were at with the Robusto thing. We're like, man, we're not moving the Robustos as much. Like, why are we gonna invest? Like, why don't we? That's where we came up with the idea. Let's just make one solid size.
Yeah, no more Robustos.
And then Jeff was like, yo, man, what do you? He's like, we did so good with the cannoli. He's like, what if we expanded just on the cannoli? And I was like, dude, that's a great idea.
Same size again, same size.
And then I said to him, I said, holy shit. Yeah. I said, if we make 2 more, we can make a green, a white, and a red. You put all 3 cannolis together, you get the Italian flag. Yeah. So that's what we're doing with the boxing, the packaging. Dope. So even on the facing. So when
that's
you
not
buy
gimmicky at all, that's awesome.
I think it's
so he said the same thing. He's like, that's a good idea. Let's
you put them on the shelf, you'll see the flag.
You'll see the flag.
I see gimmicky way different than that. I see some gimmicky shit. That's
our one, like,
I love that.
Like, but I mean, listen, let's be real. You don't get any more Italian than a cannoli, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like, we gotta have us. That's our little niche, is the cannoli with that, with that packaging. Like I said, even the facing, you put it on the shelf. The red cannoli, the whole box is red. The white cannoli, the whole box is white. The green, the whole, same thing. So you put them on the shelf on the facings, and you literally make the flag with the boxes.
Well, I think
so it looks cool.
I love the tradition aspect, because we are, in a sense, traditional in our culture and our values and stuff. We're old school, but we are
Mhm.
also edgy a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we got tattoos.
You guys are covered in tattoos. You're edgy.
Yeah, like we're kind of we did our. This is who we are, right? So let's mix all of what we are. We're tradition with some edge, you know.
Yeah. I love it. I think the look definitely translates for sure, and it
Mhm.
makes sense. I literally love the design and logo. I think they're amazing. Now, so here's what I want to do because we kept you guys for over an hour now, but I want to ask you some questions. These questions have nothing to do with the cigar industry, but would perhaps uncover more things about you guys personally than we otherwise wouldn't know through this conversation. So, are you open to answering some questions for us?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. That's why we're here, pal.
I will ask you this question first, since
Who are you
a lot-
asking? Are
I'm
you
asking both of you, so I want an answer from both of you.
Okay.
Since I know there's a lot of family centricity around what you do, I'll start with that question first. What's the best thing about being part of your family? Jeffrey, you can answer first.
Best thing about being part of my family personally is our loyalty to each other.
Oh, you took mine. That's what I was gonna
Sorry.
say.
No, I'm blessed, man. My family, my sisters, my dad, my mother, everybody, my grandparents, we're loyal, very loyal people. I feel honored to be an Amendola, and my kids have that same honor.
Nice. You're not by any chance. There's got to be a lot of Amendolas. I'm a huge Danny Amendola fan. The wide
Yes.
receiver in the NFL.
He smokes our cigars.
Does he really? Holy shit, that's dope. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
always loved him. Super underrated,
I
unfortunately.
don't know if there's a relation. His aunt hit me up. They're from Boston originally. You know, my Amendola side went right to New York from Italy. She hit me up and she feels like there might be a whatever. Who knows, right? But
Right.
she actually bought a box for Danny for opening game 2 years
That's
ago.
so
right?
dope.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That is
cool.
awesome. I love that. Chris, what about your answer?
I would say strength. You know, I guess my family. You know, I'm happy. My family's. You know, I got a couple tough guys in my family, and they've been through a lot, and they've taught me how to persevere and kind of have that never say die attitude and never quit and keep on swinging. Kind of attitude and don't take shit off of nobody. So I was gonna say loyalty, but I don't want to say the same thing Jeff said because same thing. My family is very. That's how we were raised, man. That's if you're a part of a real old school Italian culture, that's how you're raised. To respect your elders, respect your friends, your family, do the right thing by the people that do right by you. Always look out, no matter what. And,
my mother ingrained that into me as a kid.
So, but also the strength side of things, man, because my family's been through a lot, and they always come out the other side stronger and standing, and they pass those values on to me, and I'm trying to pass those values on to my daughter. So
Love it. Both good answers.
Yeah.
Difficult question, probably. What is the main thing you've always had a second thought about? Chris, we'll start with you.
Main thing I've always had a second thought about. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I don't have a lot of regrets, man. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes in my life, but I've learned from them. So I don't want to say I regret making those mistakes because those mistakes have made me into the person that I am. So I don't really have a lot of regrets, man. To be honest with you,
Well, do you mean a second thought by regrets or a second thought?
No, like second thoughts about things that you've done in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I wish
That's a good
when I
answer.
was a kid. Okay, there you go. I wish if I could have maybe went back that maybe when I was younger, I didn't get into as much trouble and would have listened to my parents a little bit more about, paying more, prioritizing things and, maybe doing a little bit better with school and would have made my life a little bit easier. Maybe that, I guess, maybe listen to my parents a little bit more and not get into so much trouble when I was a kid, I guess. I mean, but like I said, it's hard to say that because some of those experiences, as bad as they were at the time,
makes you who you are.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So
Yeah.
That's a tough question. That's a tough question.
That's a tough question
for me.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what mine is. That's a tough question, bro. But it's funny though you asked that, and I've actually been really thinking about this in my life. my second thought would be that I wish I knew what I know now when I was like 20 or 21. With I always knew I wasn't everyone, when I was younger, everyone had to go to college, right?
Right.
Or do this, or you have to do that. That was never in my DNA. I just wish I was able to identify who I really was like
Right.
15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, if I started, I later knew I was supposed to be an entrepreneur. I can't work for anybody else. I mean, I have to, I do when I have to, but it's not in my DNA to clock in and clock out.
Right.
And I wish I realized that when I was like 20.
It's hard to realize.
I think I did, but I didn't know how to do it.
Right. And then also, like, even 20 years old, you're not at the height of your emotional maturity yet. You don't really develop that until you're a little later. So it's like, I think everybody struggles with that choice when you're younger. I'm not, college track was not right for me. I went to college for a little bit.
I dropped out.
It's not the right thing for me.
I dropped out.
Yeah, me too.
And realized that, you know, I took a career placement test when I was like 23, 24.
I remember those.
Yeah. And I'm like, something's off. Like, I almost felt like I wasn't, I wasn't normal, because I knew guys that were entrepreneurs in business, but I'm like, you know, I should have done this, or I should have gone to school for business, but you know, my top three were sales, entrepreneurship, and law enforcement.
Right.
And I always knew I was always trying to sell something. I just wish I capitalized on that.
Right.
Then.
But as Corey said, bro, it's so hard. I mean, same thing with me when I was that age, bro. I mean, I thought I was going to be a motorcycle. I mean, I was living in Florida for 2 years. I was a motorcycle mechanic. I thought I was going to be working on Ducatis and race bikes for the rest of my life. I ended up moving back to New York. You know, when I'm 24, 25, I ended up falling into elevators. You know, I do elevators and I'm an elevator escalator mechanic in the city for the next 10 years. I was in a metal band. I thought, you know, like that was going to be my thing. You know, music was my life for like 5 years. That's all I did was tour, play shows, you know, and that's where I thought I was going to be. And it, you know, sometimes, you know, look what happened with me and you, Jeff. You know, like, you don't plan shit, you know, like shit just happens the way it's supposed to happen, and you got to kind of just go with the flow.
And you have to have that mentality. You have to have that mentality. A lot of people miss it.
Yeah, a lot of people miss it. And you know what? You know how many times those opportunities like hit them over the head and they go, what? That happened again. It's like, man, the door is like open. I've seen so many times where that door is open for so many people when they talk about the things that they want to integrate into their lives. And it's like, oh, I have a passion around this thing. And that door swings open and they walk right by it. And you're like, what in the fuck did you? It was right there for you.
They're scared.
Yeah, it's definitely what it is. It's not that they didn't know. It's not ignorance. It's fear.
It's fear.
Fear.
100%.
Yeah. I totally agree. All right. So last question that I have for you guys. And
these are hard, bro.
These just keep getting harder. Oh, just you wait.
You ready for this
questions. One? Which do you think is generally smarter, men or women?
Oh, I'm not answering that question.
Who's touching it? Come on.
Listen,
I told you they get harder.
That's a setup question, bro. That's what that is.
No, I'll tell you. I have no shame in it. Well, maybe a little bit. No,
Jeff also doesn't have a wife at home that's going to give him a smack upside the head after he gets off this interview. So you know what I'm saying?
No, but she's probably watching or will watch. Yeah, women definitely smarter, 100%.
I agree,
100%. And the reason I say that is, I think, well, yes, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, just stop there, bro. Don't give yourself.
I don't disagree at all, because I think, you know, I think about my wife who has this natural intuition.
They have a natural. That's what I'm saying.
A high amount of intelligence. You know, we're like. You think about the stupid things we did when we were younger, like jumping off roofs and just doing dumb shit. Like, it's like women are smart enough to know not to put themselves in a situation that's going to kill them because they're too stupid to know they shouldn't jump off
They have a certain intuition and nurture spirit.
I put it this way. I think when it comes to you know, stuff like that, like who's like making smarter decisions, definitely women.
Yeah.
But I also think when it comes to thinking logically, sometimes it's men, because women think
Good.
a lot more emotionally.
Emotion.
That's true.
You know,
Very true.
so I think like if
When
you're
you're
talking
right, you're
about
right.
just- thank you. Yeah, well, listen,
Chris
you know,
said it, we didn't.
I'm just saying. I'm talking about like if you're talking about just straight intellect, I would say probably women. They're smarter. They have those intuitions, like you say. They read things well. But when it comes to being logical, or sometimes I feel, you know, I think men are, because I know dealing with my wife when
I
she's
agree
nuts,
with that.
man.
I agree
Sometimes,
with that.
you know, it's a lot of emotion. You know, a
Right.
lot of it's emotion. They're not making decisions based on a logical, all right, this is black and white and this is the answer. Like how when I look at it, a problem and try to fix it, they look at it like, well, this is black and white, but this is like this and that's like that, and that
Yeah, and
makes
here's
me
all
feel
this
mad.
gray
And
that you get too. And
yeah,
you're like,
Oh, a lot of
yeah,
gray.
you know,
A lot of
no, it's
gray.
yes or
a lot of
no.
gray
There
in
is
it,
no
so,
maybe or anything else.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
so I
know?
would agree with that. Like I'm very data analytic driven. That's how my brain works. And so everything for me is based in reason and logic. Most decisions I make are hardly ever based on high amounts of emotion, unless it
Exactly.
comes
And
to
then I'm the
dog or
same
what
way.
it is. And
you
so
know?
it's like, for me, it almost seems so obvious. And it's hard for me to get outside myself sometimes to realize that someone else is thinking something completely different based on an emotional response where it isn't so obvious. And so I struggle with that. So, and I think that's the reason men and women fight. I don't think
Different.
it's because
And
it's
no,
such a
I agree.
disagreement.
It's not just
100%
you.
it is.
It's
Right.
I think it's all men. All men think
Sure.
like, you know, men are very simple. I'm hungry. I want
Right.
to eat.
Yeah.
I'm
tired.
I
I want
want
to
a
sleep.
girl. I'm tired. I'm gonna fucking sleep. I'm horny. I want to fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very quick gratifying.
Like there's
we know
nothing
what you want.
attached to
That's
it at all.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When women, it's like, you know, like I said, it gets more emotional where it's like, I'm hungry, but I don't feel like getting bloated. So I don't want to go here. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna maybe go here. But I can't have this because it's against my diet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where men are like,
Right.
yo, I'm hungry, I'm going to get something to eat. You know, like it's very.
Right.
So I think the difference between men and women is not that saying that one's right or wrong. You know, intellectually, I would agree. Women are probably smarter than men because they focus more. But when it comes to making logical decisions based with no emotion, I would say guys got the women beat on that.
Yeah.
So
I
that's my
think
opinion.
women would agree with that too. So I don't think you're saying anything out of bounds at all. I've agreed with you too. And I know my wife will hear this. So, and you know what? And she'll probably go, you know what? You're right. And I'm like, yeah, I think I think we're onto something. Well, Jeffery, Chris, I can't thank you guys enough. This was absolutely a pleasure. So much fun to talk to you guys. Finally glad.
Thank you for having us.
Glad we got a couple Italian tatted up dudes that I'm telling you right now, like, to me, it's like I love seeing tattoos in this industry, and I love like the energy and the ambition, all that. It's great to talk to guys that just don't feel, you know, we've had some conversations where it almost feels like some people seem defeated, almost like things have just been such a challenge through the pandemic. It's like these hardships bring upon kind of negative emotion. So it's really cool to talk to someone who's just like energized, engaged, like can't ready to get back at it. Like this world, you know, 2021 is going to open up a world of opportunity for us. It's really cool.
There's always opportunity to be made. Always.
Sure. And I just want to say, you know, we appreciate guys like you who are willing to give us your platform, give the brand exposure. You know, all we ask, man, listen, you know, like I said, I don't blow sunshine. Either does Jeff. You know, we tell it the way it is, and we're direct. You know, there's a lot of good brands out there, man. A lot. You know, if you love cigars, you know, you would be lying if you were like, oh, I just smoke this brand and that's all I smoke. Most good cigar smokers, real cigar smokers, smoke a lot of different brands.
Yeah.
And you know, for us, you know, we just want to be a part of the rotation. We just want to be a part of the conversation. We just want, you know, people to make us part of their rotation and give us an opportunity to be in their humidor. You know, we're not asking you to smoke an Amendola every day. I mean, that'd be great too, but you know, realistically, you know, we're just asking to be part of your rotation. There's a lot of good stuff on product on the market. We respect all the other brands. But at the same time, you know, we believe in our brand, and you know, we appreciate guys like you having us come on, being able to give the brand some exposure. All we ask is, you know, hopefully if you like what we're doing, man, and you guys dig what we're doing and the product that we're putting out, just let people know about us. You know, just let people know, hey, about us and know about our brand and you know, a big shout out to I say it on, you know, whenever I'm able to, because I just want these guys to know, you know, both me and Jeff, you know, pay attention and we appreciate all the support that they've given us as far as our factory partners, Terrence, Aragon Orsa, the whole Azona team, Espinoza, you know, Gabriel Panares with Creativas. He's been a big, you know, big part of our team. Some of the brokers we have coming on, and even all the
Illusione.
Illusione.
Yeah, that's
huge.
so dope.
That's
That
amazing.
is
And
awesome.
then even a lot of the social media platforms, as far as like the clubs, like the Barrel Burners have shown us support, La Familia Sindicato, Asshole Cigar Club. So, you know, we just want to thank everybody and let everybody know that, you know, we're not going nowhere. We're humble. We're honored for everybody that's supporting us and that is smoking our cigars, and to just, you know, stick with us, because we're not going nowhere and we got a lot of good things coming, man. And just, you know, believe in us and believe in our brand, and we won't let you down.
The journey is just starting. So
Oh yeah.
thanks,
I mean, I
guys.
told
Seriously.
you guys, you weathered FDA, you weathered pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Short of a zombie apocalypse, I think you guys.
right.
That'd be my only concern at this point.
Right.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. I really enjoyed this conversation. And usually I usually say that, but I don't say it with such enthusiasm. So when I say it the way that I do,
that means a lot, man.
It was
Thank you.
awesome to talk to you guys. So much fun, so much energy. It's incredible to see that and super refreshing. So thank you again. We'll definitely be in touch. Can't wait to see what you guys do in a year. We'll have you back on the show in like a year from now.
Let's
and
do
then
it.
Yeah, that'd be
so
sweet.
much more.
Whenever you want, man.
Yeah,
All you got to do is reach out. We're here. You can always get in touch with us. That's one thing about me and Jeff, man. We're not, you know, we're very easy access. If you want to get in touch with us, we're always open to talk to people and you know, tell our story. So if people are willing to listen, so
beautiful.
You know?
We will definitely stay in touch, and thank you guys again. And we will definitely talk to you soon.
Cool.
Thanks,
guys.
Corey. Thanks, Chris. Thanks a lot,
Hello.
fellas. Have a good one. Bye.
Peace.
There you have it.
There you have it.
Interview
You know,
with Amendola.
You know, out of everything I've learned today, this is the first time I've ever spoke to those guys. And I'm definitely looking forward to smoking the cigars based on what you've said.
I've got some for you. They are
And I like
I can't give too
cannolis.
much because of because I smoked it, but it's also on the review docket for next
so you
week.
can't
So
talk about it.
I can't really talk about it.
Well, I'm doing a little secret project with them. We are releasing a cigar in one size. It is in a pie slice, and it's a pie vitola, and we're calling it the tiramisu.
Wait, isn't tiramisu like cake shaped?
It is, but
Is
it's
tiramisu a pie or a cake?
It's more of a cake, but we're doing it in a pie slice because we're being different.
That's fair.
One size, tiramisu, coffee base. It's gonna have a very strong coffee flavor to it.
Yeah, of course.
And
Sweetness.
we're super excited. But you know, but the thing is like they say gimmicky, and I don't think it's gimmicky at all.
No, that wasn't gimmicky.
Now,
The whole cannoli.
now if
the
they
box is not
if they
gimmicky.
would have been like, hey, yeah, we're gonna get this Italian cigar, and we're gonna call it the Ferrari. I've been like,
that would have been gimmicky.
all right.
Yeah, there's some gimmicky shit out there that you know me, I fucking hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gimmicky at all. It's like, dude, that's just that's heritage association kind of mixed with like brand identity.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, let's just leave the cars to fucking the flatheads and CAOs, okay?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, who else has a fucking car themed?
I don't know. I think it's the
well, I mean, Espinoza has the Murcielago.
That's
it has
true.
Nothing, a Murcielago is just a bat. And
that's true.
Name of a Lamborghini, but
it's the name of a Lamborghini. Yeah.
It's just another term, but yeah. But that was fun. It was cool to talk to those guys. I'd never talked to them before.
Yeah.
I know I've recognized the brand name for quite some time, but accessibility to
the Knights of the Leaf.
I don't know, what is that?
You've ever seen that like little clique that's almost culty?
Really?
That's on Instagram. I
never know if you're fucking joking or not.
No, I'm pretty sure called Knights of the Leaf.
Oh, that's
or Knights something.
Ugh.
Yeah, I believe it's Knights of the Leaf. but it's like there's
Creepy.
so many of them in New York and like the eastern seaboard.
Hmm.
Yeah. I swear one of them looks like he's one of those clicks. Or maybe it's
Sure, the Knights of a Leaf is a thing.
I'm pretty sure
Ah.
it's Knights something. But they both look so familiar, maybe just based on these Knights, like, and they have little badges. You know, they have like little patches.
I don't think it's Knights of the Leaf.
I thought it was Knights of the Leaf, but
Knights of the Leaf Etsy. Pretty sure they're not an Etsy.
Instagram. It's not on Instagram. Like Knights. Look up Knights.
I'm looking at it right now. Can't find anything.
I'm almost positive. Maybe I had the name wrong then. I thought it was
doing
Knights.
it Knights, which I assume is correct.
Yeah.
Not like nighttime.
Yeah, correct.
Nights, no. No.
Fuck.
Yeah, you done fucked up.
There's no way. I'm gonna prove you all wrong. I'm gonna prove it.
I mean, prove us wrong because I can't find it.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
What did you think of my questions at the end? Pretty good succession of those questions, huh? I like to ramp it up. I'm sure methodical around those.
They were very good, but let me end it with this note: men versus female, right?
Yeah, I know you'll tell us the truth.
Now listen, I'm going through my own set of ordeals and troubles when it comes to relationships, and it led me on a journey of self-acceptance and discovery and understanding. And there's a book that I'm going to recommend. And I'm not trying to be a book club here, okay? But there's a book I'm going to recommend, and I swear to you, if you want insight into the physiology, psychology, biology about females, especially as it relates to family life, please check out the book How Not to Hate Your Husband. I have it on audiobooks, and it's
You're reading a book called How Not to Hate Your Husband?
Yep.
Shouldn't a female be reading a book called How Not to Hate Your Husband?
Well, it's written by a woman. And
for women though.
For women.
Or gay men.
But I'm reading listening. I don't read. I'm listening to it on audio or Audible to dive into the psyche of what makes women tick and how they work better, because I had a very flawed long-term relationship before this one, and I'm seeing those shortcomings come out in this new one, and I want to correct those. So this book is fucking crazy good. But boy, you want some statistics about intelligence? Yes, they're smarter, scientifically speaking. Statistically, they are smarter. They're also better at multitasking. Women can multitask up to 5 things or more at a time, where a guy can only do 1.5. And that's just statistically true.
Yeah, but we do that 1.5 really
Plus,
well.
We talked about women being able to read emotions. Biologically, that is the case, because as a mother, babies can't talk. They can't speak. They can't do anything. So a mother has to have the innate intuition to be able to read their baby's expression to discern what the baby needs. And it's all done by looking at facial expression and body language.
So according to this female author, where do the men have the advantage in terms of the relationship? So what's the counterbalance to the things that the women bring to the table?
There isn't. It's just about how not to hate them and being more acceptant of men and how they are.
Sounds like a true feminist wrote this book.
Yeah, probably.
Do you think there's a counter book to this that a guy has written?
How Not to Hate Your Wife.
That also has a balance to it that would both also suggest and maybe recommend that there are certain flaws within women and stronger characteristics in men that are innately superior. Do you think that could be written or exist? Sounds like you are reading a man-hater's book.
No, it's all a means to defend husbands.
But it also sounds too like, hey, here's defense of a husband because he's stupid. You should just be a little bit more forgiving of his stupidness or ignorance.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So that's a man-hating book, Chris. That's what that is. That's
It's
a passive aggressive.
It's very insightful. And it helps me reframe things too. before I say certain things, you know?
So is it weird having two vaginas in your relationship? I'm confused.
No, you know, dude, I've learned so much, you know, I'm like so on it when it comes to like being a better spouse, but,
I'm glad. I'm also concerned.
but it's crazy all the shit I've been learning that has to do with just biology. Like, but how culture, I don't know why we're going on this long after the show, but
I don't either.
but the biology of men versus women, but the cultural expectation now put on men about a family's expectations of how they should be as a father and as a parent, and how there's a huge disconnect there. And so it's pretty fucking wild.
Well, don't you think it's sort of odd too, where people talk about and discuss how far women have come in their existence, and that it's like we always talk about like male domination in terms of pretty much everything, although I would argue that's not the case. So this is not me vouching or siding with one particular, you know, piece of this argument. But you could also argue that men have come a long way in terms of closing that gap of emotional status, integration with family. Think about what it was like when our grandpa's dad was a dad. It was like, I'm going to drink whiskey and beat my kids every night. That was fucking common.
I go to work all day. I come home and I relax. The mom stays at home. This is culturally how it was expected and how it worked up and through the 60s. Yeah. Like men went to work, they did their jobs, they were breadwinners, they came home, they relaxed. The mom stayed at home all day, took care of kids.
Right.
That was the life. That was the roles.
But that gap has closed.
Those
two worlds have blended together.
That gap has closed and it's blended together. However, biologically speaking, we still have, from an evolutionary standpoint, a certain way of doing things as a male and a certain way of doing things as a female. And we're trying to be more understanding and blend those. And there's a lot of fathers that obviously want to do more family-wise than they did back in the 60s.
I know a stay-at-home father.
Yeah, there's stay-at-home fathers. But from a physiology standpoint, biology, psychology, evolutionary standpoint, like we are not even remotely like caregivers like a woman is. But we're expected to be as close to it now, which is hard.
What you're saying is biologically much more difficult.
Yes. It can be learned, but it is not. It is not.
Kind of makes sense because I don't like kids naturally.
Dude, there's like so much.
I love my nephew and I love my niece, but there's most of the time I'm very intolerant of kids.
They asked parents what is the strongest thing about your family, or like they were like trying to choose like how do you like keep the family together, or like who would you choose in a situation like this? And the mother always picked the kids over the husband, and the husband always picks the wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Like a majority of the time.
I was just going to say something really fucked
up. What? I don't know why we're still talking about this. Why are we talking about this?
When you said the man picks the wife over the kids, I was just going to say, well, you can't fuck your kids.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, shit.
That's true. But great show, Corey. Great show.
Great show. I don't know whether to clip that out or not. Oh shit. I get it though. It makes sense, but yeah, you're reading Manhunter's book. That's fine though. I like to read empowering men books like How to Play the Stock Market. That's to me, that's the extent of what I read these days. Anyway, back to that interview. Totally fun. I really like Chris and Jeffery a lot. Those are two dudes I would love to hang out with. You know, they'd be a fucking good time. Both of them drinking whiskey on the podcast. I was like, how dope is that? And excited to see what they do in the coming year and years, because their brand is really kind of hot-shotting onto the market right now. And again, through pretty challenging times. So Chris, I do have some samples for you if I don't smoke them beforehand. So
okay,
we'll see. But anyway, you can visit our show sponsor at mycigarpack.com. I finally got this month's release, and it was another hot bangy banger. The Mysterious Tiger, which is part of the Factory Direct program at My Cigar Pack, has released as well. But this is going to be, I believe, a long-term effort. Yeah, permanent placement that they're bringing to the table. So I've had both the Habano and the Maduro. One will move on to be the permanent placement. I have my thoughts on which one I think is better, but I'm not going to say them on this podcast. I would like to just see what the results are before I make my recommendation on those, but I've had both of them, and they're both actually very, very good.
This is like when Doritos put out two different style of chips.
I know, which one do you like, right? yeah, that was actually pretty fun. So you can check out this month's pack along with the Mysterious Tiger, www.mycigarpack.com. Hot 10 promo code Hot 10 at checkout for $10 off your first peak. I forget what release I put up this week.
I owe you a graphic.
You owe me a graphic. That's what I've been waiting for. I don't know which one it is, Chris.
I'll say it. It is the Casa Fernandez Secretos del Arte.
Oh, yeah. And then I've got another one that'll be released on Saturday, which will be the Adventura, the Royal Return King's Gold. We've already done the other one that came out, which is the Queen's Pearl. So this will be the other Adventure that released at the same time frame. So we'll have both of those going out this week. So you can check those out at www.hotticketweekly.com. I would also say and suggest, if you missed our interview with ex-Pro Bowl NFL safety Ken Hamlin, definitely check out that episode. It was a really good interview. I actually super enjoyed our time on that. So you can check that out on both YouTube, and you can check it on all podcast platforms, or at least most of them. I don't want to say all of them, but it's a lot of them.
Yeah, and on YouTube you can watch it too, and watch as Ken can disappear into a bush.
Yeah, and just mysteriously disappears in the background every 5 seconds.
The whole interview.
It's like half of a floating fucking head the whole time. Just like you see a head do this,
fading in and out of a bush.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, I really enjoyed that interview. So you can check that out now, and the whole podcast library, just like fucking infinite at this point, because this is episode 191. So it's very crazy. We're fastly approaching episode 200. So all right, let's end it. I got to go play with some dogs before it starts raining again. This will conclude episode 191. We'll be back at you next week with episode 192. See you, everyone.